मम्मी जी की कुछ यादें, remembering my mother. It seems like it is taking me a lifetime to appreciate, to have a deeper understanding and appreciation of my mother. It finally seems that she was actually more advanced than I gave her credit. She was actually more advanced than current times, modern times. I want to focus on food right now. What appeared backward to me was actually more advanced. Drinking water from a mud pot, surahi ya kada, eating fresh foods versus refrigerated foods. And fresh foods literally meant buying vegetables fresh the same day, preparing meals the same day. And if there was a bit of a leftover, which was usually rationed very well, planned very well, almost nothing was left over. But if a small container, like a portion, was left, it was used in the next meal and was usually frowned upon. Choosing simpler, fewer spices over overspiced, overstimulating foods from the restaurant. Using simple techniques like soaking dals ahead of time, not only consuming less fuel, but easier to cook and became more bioavailable because it became live food. Dals were cleaned ahead of time. They were not just thrown into a container and cooked. Pressure cooking was occasional when there was a need. Choosing vegetables which were local and seasonal. The world is coming to this conclusion now after decades. So many articles, whether they are anecdotal, people's experiences, research based, or scientific in nature, they're coming to this conclusion that people should eat what is locally grown in the soil and in that climate or environment. Nature or Mother Earth provides the foods necessary for the season to balance off the climatic conditions and also provides the nutrition needed for the people living in that environment. Easy to digest food or foods like ash gourd or lauki, which we frowned upon because they were not as delicious. And as I grow older, I appreciate its digestive power and superpower. Less dense food with more water content, which in the past was considered it is less nutritionally dense compared to, let's say, meats or soyas. Or actually, it's not about nutritional density, it is about what happens to the food when it goes inside the body. How does it break down? How long does it take for the body to consume? How long does it sit in the system? Is it rotting in the system, creating bloating and weight increase, diseases, all in the name of what is in the food pyramid? Oh, it is high in protein or high in certain nutrition. Yes, in the lab, that is true. But what happens inside the body after the enzymes break them down and how it consumes the natural urja or energy inside the body, how it is nutritionally absorbed, is quite something else. The use of spices and herbs, what spice and herb to put in what vegetable, in what season, the choice of oils, whole cold pressed oils like mustard oil or desi ghee were always preferred and chosen over refined oils. The refined oils were used primarily for deep frying. And even deep frying was okay when done occasionally, especially when it was a rainy day, a cold day, or a day when you really felt like having it. There was a sense of balance that Mamiji had in her diet, and she provided us that balanced diet over 12 months. It is very hard to achieve a balanced diet in a meal, but it is much easier to provide or achieve or have a balance in nutrition over the year so that our senses are satiated, our mind is happy, our body achieves the nutrition, and yet there is a ceiling on desires and little or no waste of food. Obviously, things were naturally organic back then. Foods, fresh produce was 10 to 100 times cheaper than today. And yet, everybody lived happily, and the word is satisfactorily. With whatever was available in terms of finances, we lived within the means. She lived within the means while providing the best of best for us, including soaked almonds in the morning, whether it was summertime or wintertime. Each one of us had so called the brain food, 10 soaked almonds overnight, peeled and eaten in the morning. Balance of different grains like wheat, rice, corn, oatmeal, and occasionally other things like barley and millets, sabudana, and other grains which I was not very fond of, or I didn't like their taste because it was odd and different, not familiar. But she never stopped introducing us to the foods that she would get from different parts of the region, various berries, and enjoying fresh cut salads and greens while basking in the sunlight after having an oil massage. Simple, profound, healthy way of living. My mother passed away the way she always wanted to. She didn't want to be hospitalized overnight, and she was walking on her own, cooking not only for herself and even for the family, taking care of her responsibilities, active. She did work with her hands. She was active, doing housework, doing banking work, doing mental work, doing conversations, solving problems, and yet having a good daily chai with her biscuit. Did she have a cancer or any serious disease? No. Did she have a glowing skin? Yes. Was she self dependent? Yes. Did she have a large heart? Absolutely yes. No matter how much she had, she would always take a small portion, 10% or so, and use it for service, whether it was for donation in this eye organization, money wise. And the testimony of that is that after several years of her death, I was in Puttaparthi, and in the Central Trust, somebody followed me and asked me if I am her son. I said yes. And he was raining praises of her, that how she would always come and give donations. Mind you, she didn't have a large sum of money, but she had a large heart. She knew how to raise her kids, providing the best that she could, that she knew, living the values, did not differentiate between any one of her four kids. They were the same for her. Okay, fine. Being the youngest, I was her favorite, and I loved her more than anything else. She found ways to serve, whether it was taking care of people who were helping her, if there was somebody who needed some help in their marriage or education, or even just passerbys, strangers who needed to use the restroom, they knew they could knock on this door and they would be welcomed. I remember this story, there was a house worker and who chose to or who preferred to eat my mom's homemade food when she had an opportunity. She would much rather eat a simple food made by her than anywhere else. Why? Because she did it with love and she did it with an intention of serving God. She showed me God. She was my first guru. She showed me how to serve because she served. I have tiny bit of devotion in me because she had a large amount of devotion in her. However much work she had at home, she didn't fail to go to Dandi Swamiji and Matha take. But most importantly, she had satisfaction, self satisfaction, self confidence, self satisfaction, self sacrifice, and of course, she attained self realization. I have absolutely no doubt about it. Simple and profound. Who could judge it based on the outer expressions, looks? Even I could not. I love you, Amiji. Thank you for bringing me to this world. I owe my life to you.